Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Transcend Breaking Boundaries. And today we are talking to Mel. He is the organizer and leader of TMOC, TTMOC, right? I said it right?
Driving
TTMOC.
Transmen of Color, TTMOC.
Yeah, I driving transmitted of color. Yep.
TTMOC.
TTMOC. I feel like, okay.
I mean, I've never heard it called T-Mock, but you know what? Hey, that might be something new. You might need to be like, hey, yo, you going to T-Mock? Like, okay.
I felt like it. I don't know why all of a sudden that's just all I saw. But Mel, go ahead and let everyone know a bit about yourself.
So I'm Mel Howard. My pronouns are he, him, king, monarch. I am from Virginia, born and raised, born and bred. Lived here my whole life. I've been transitioning since about 2010, and medically have been transitioning since about 2012. So been in the game quite some time. Done a lot of work with community as far as volunteerism, as far as certifications, as far as like personal development. Really big about learning who I was, and it was a really vital part of my life when I needed. When I was 20, right before I transitioned, I attempted suicide. So I attempted suicide, was ready to end my whole life, my own world. And then I woke up that day and I was like, hey, nah, I'm finna live for me. I'm not living for anyone else. This is my second opportunity, it's my second chance. And I made the most of it. And it changed my life dramatically. So yeah.
Okay, so was that the defining moment that led to you? I guess the roots, because Thriving Transmit Color has been around since 2022, right? You started in 2022.
Yes.
Was that the foundation that led to then making it what it is?
I would say that like that near death experience was when I started looking for community. So at that point, when I was 20 and I attempted suicide, that was when I started my transition. That's when I started trying to find community. I was trying to find support. I wanted to look for trans men, but trans men that look like me. And when I'm telling you that was hard to find, it almost seemed impossible. So that was really kind of a little bit of a background. You know what I mean? I would say that Thriving Trans Men of Color, TTMOC, was born out of the necessity to create a space where trans men of color could, feel seen and like really be noticed, because there really was or really is a lack of representation, and it's really a lack of resources for our community. I mean, there's more to it, but just really just starting out, that was really kind of why it was created.
And I mean, I agree with you, because I started transitioning in 2009. Was when I started, and even then, all I would see around me was, because then at that time too, you had Chaz Bono, and so that's whom everyone felt trans men was, and then you got the L Word too. And so, what was his name? Max and the L Word.
Yeah.
That's all. That's all it really was. And I mean, even when it pertains to the masculine identity of even lesbians, because the L Word only represented Tasha, who was the feminine military lesbian. So even just the dominant male persona, even when it pertains to the lesbian community, there's no representation of that, no positive representation. Then the only positive representation is you have a white trans guy on all over TV. So there wasn't anyone. And I feel like that's also what played a part in why I kept my identity to myself, because I really didn't see anyone else out there around who where spaces were created for trans men like us to even have the support that's needed to thrive out there. Um, my question for you, with what you have going on right now, and current state of where America is and things, resources that we do have, where do you see what you're doing as far as growth wise? Like where are you targeting to help our community get the resources that's needed to continue to even grow what it is that you're doing? 'Cause I do know your Sundays, your Sunday meetings, your weekly Sunday things, which I feel is a huge thing mental wise for the mental state of men like us in the trans community.
Absolutely. So like, and I just want to piggyback off something that you said earlier, right? Like, you started your organization in 2009, and with the representation of it not being seen, not in our community, like our lived experiences is like so unique, right? And we're at this like intersection of like race and gender identity, like, what I'm saying, and having platforms where we can share those experiences, advocate for our needs, and provide like mutual support is really big and near and dear to my heart. But like you, I wanted to find that connection, and just thinking about, Black Trans Men Incorporated, which was really a really important part of my life when I was starting to transition and needing to see their existence, right? But seeing, Carter Brown and seeing what they did is vitally important. Seeing what you're doing, vitally important, and just knowing that they exist, right? So when we think about Thriving Trans Men of Color, we think about the concept of Thriving Trans Men of Color. We think of like a significant growth in terms of membership and outreach, right? And that it's continuously steady growing. 2,100 members on something that was formed in 2022. It's huge, right? We're thinking about how we went to Dallas, to the conference, to Black Trans Men Incorporated, and received an award on us just being around for a year. That was impressive. That was huge. That was big. And to know that the community is seeing us, to know that it's nationally known. It's not known just in Virginia, but to know I can go in Cali and people are like, yo, you run Thriving Trans Men of Color, and to continue on. Like, I'm talking about looking ahead in the future of what I see that this organization providing. I'm talking about 3 years, like expanding our local chapters to increase the advocacy, in our local areas, but continuously to increase it on national levels, and making sure we're organizing and having more conferences in different areas, and making sure that we're developing more comprehensive resources, not only to talk about like mental health support, because that's a really big component, but talking about financial literacy programs to make sure that our community is knowing the things that is stopping us. Because we're having barriers with employment, we got barriers with housing, we got issues with struggling on so many different components, right? We are battling with ourselves for inner love, and that's what's affecting our mental health, because we're out here thinking that we got to be silent. We out here saying, nah, I can't identify as I am because I'm so worried about how the community is seeing me. I'm so worried about them misgendering me that I don't want to identify with other trans men of color. I want to be silent because I'm so worried about somebody telling my tea than really existing. And that is a problem too. We got to get to a point within our community that we're building each other up instead of breaking each other down. And that is when we thrive, when we come together as a whole, when we're supporting other nonprofits that are doing this work, when we're supporting other Black and brown trans-led organizations, when we're coming together to do things to help our community instead of wanting to be the first to do it, wanting to be the one like, oh, we got a housing program. Help others get a housing program. We all need somewhere to stay. We got so many rich trans people, and I get that they don't think they exist, but we got black and brown rich trans individuals that won't throw money at an organization that wants to help our community because we think our community needs to struggle in order to make it. I struggle, so you struggle. Instead of, nah, let's get it together. Let's help our community thrive. Nah, y'all gotta have to figure out a way. That's not how this works. We got people out here that need support, that need community. And if we think about growth, if this organization is going to flourish, it's going to do it on the backs of our community that give a damn. We need to stop pretending like we so good, we so this and we so that. But we got to learn how to work together to make sure that everybody in our community, and we got to stop stabbing each other in our backs. I'm not going to say my organization is better than another organization. I'm going to say I'm proud of my brother's organization and my sister's organization that's out here helping the community. And then if we keep helping, let's say in 10 years, we come together, we can actually have some money that's really about it. You want to talk about society right now, everything that we dealing with. Right now, we got trans folks scared. We got black and brown trans folks scared. We got white trans folks scared. We got purple turquoise trans people scared. Because right now, we don't know if we're going to be all right. And for sure, my black trans sisters and trans brothers, I am really worried about us. Because I know that we got targets on our backs. But that don't make me scared at all. I'm going to tell you one thing about it. I stand solid. Stand solid. For all of my brothers, for all of my sisters, for everybody out there who feels like they need to be silent, I am who I am. 7 days a week. 7 days a week. I am who I am.
That right there is what I feel people need to see more of. And I even myself, when we first spoke and I told you, I was like, like you said, in my mind, because I needed to survive, the world didn't need to know. But then I realized I got to a certain point where I'm hurting myself more internally, not being true to myself. And so it's more so I need to be out here. I need to make the world comfortable. I need to do my part to do what I can so that younger trans folks don't feel like they need to be scared to be themselves. Because there's so many of us who can do so much, but we don't have the resources. We don't have the opportunity to do so. So therefore, we're constantly going through life surviving. And I mean, everything of what I'm doing, even when it pertains to like real estate, the stuff that I'm doing real estate, the main goal of all that I do real estate wise is to be able to provide housing. Because I look at things that I struggled with, resources wise, what I didn't have being trans, and I was homeless on a consistent basis. And it was more so I didn't want to go home to where I knew I can go be with my granny and have a roof over my head, because then I was falling back into, being misgendered, being called the she by my family and so forth. And then I didn't want to sit there and have to deal with that mental toll. So I'd rather struggle, be homeless in a place where I didn't have to worry about people knowing that I was born a female. I'd rather chose that life and figure out how to survive then than going back to something that wasn't healthy for me mentally. And I want to be able to provide safe spaces for trans people of color to live and not have to worry about a stress that is something that should just be given. You shouldn't have to worry about a roof over your head. Like, it should be just something that is you're able to sit there and get without having to be concerned. A job is something that you should be able to shouldn't have to worry about having, and it's based off of your ability of what you can do, not on what's in your pants or who you identify as, but your ability on if you can do the job or not. Point blank.
The whole thing about it is that when you identify as a trans individual and a trans person of color, and we're talking about a cisgender heterosexual community that thinks that everyone is straight, that thinks everybody was born either male or female and not intersex, Not talking about that. Not talking about the people who may have men partners or may have women partners that can be homosexual, right? We're talking about the majority of the world, right? The world that they live in. And they don't see us in that norm. They don't see anyone that is actually thriving, that is of color, that is a part of the transgender community. But we're so quick to go the moment we get passable to be like, oh, I'm just a man. I'm just a woman. I'm just this. And blend in because it's easier than to have those uncomfortable conversations or to be tokenized. And that's real. I think that we as a community have to let our voice be heard and be willing to be seen so that they know, hey, trans people aren't just on Maury. Trans people aren't pedophiles. Trans people are great individuals. And trans people of color exist. We exist. We put our pants on just like they put their pants on. And my wife will put on her dress just like they put on they dress. And we just move through life. And we do it very well. We hold jobs. We're not all just sex workers. Granted, if you have to do survivor sex work, it's what you got to do. You got to do what you need to do. And there's cisgender heterosexual women who do it as well too. But they not talking about them doing it. I just feel like that they need to really grow.
That's there's so many goddamn going cisgendered individuals who do sex work, but for some reason trans people who do sex work is more of a bigger goddamn topic than the cisgendered ones who do it.
Just like with mental health. There is a lot of people who struggle with mental health. And there's not enough conversations about mental health. I'm not even talking about in the transgender community. I'm talking about in the Black community. We're not talking about mental health. That's the reason why when we losing someone, we're not talking about it. We're not talking about drug overdose when it's killing our community. When we know individuals, it's hurting us because they promote drugs. When you go and you going out, oh, we about to go get some alcohol. I've seen people now, they start talking about cocaine like it's normal. And this is the reason why it's affecting our community so bad. It's because we're not having real conversations about, hey, it's okay to not be okay. Yep. What are you doing to support your mental health? What are you doing to cope with something that's going on? You having a traumatic experience. Is someone you know hurt? Is someone you know in the hospital? Did you just lose your job? Like, are we not having conversations to talk about the experiences of different things? Are we not talking about dysphoria? Why are we not? Why are we not having safe community conversations? Why do we not feel safe in community? And that is the issue.
What I like about what TTMOC does is like I said, your Sunday meetings where you hear a bunch of people talking about a bunch of different things, and the fact that you allow space for that to happen, because whether they got health insurance and they can afford to do it with their insurance with actual therapists, you at least provide that space, that community for someone to sit there and talk about whatever it is that's on their mind, whether it pertains to transitioning, work, whatever the case may be. You have that there. And then you also have for older trans guys as well, where they have their own separate thing for those who've been transitioning for a long time or transitioning at an older age. Because that is different to transition at an older age and at the ages that we did it. And you provide the space for that to happen. And what I find to be unfortunate is the fact that I'm pretty sure there are other organizations, but what I know is that yours is all I know. There should be more. And the fact that even trying to find more is not readily available is the problem. I even like when I found your group, I don't even know what I typed or how I came upon it, but I did because I went out there and I was just like, I know there's more of me out there. I need to find black men. I need to find more black people that's like me, because I know I cannot be the only motherfucker out here who just feels like he's alone. But because the reality is, though, I was the only black trans man that I knew. Out of the 15 years of transitioning, I was the only black man, trans man, that I even spoke to. Talking to myself in the mirror, I was the only one. So I was like, I need to find more brothers. I know I can't be the only motherfucker, so I gotta find this. And then I don't know what I typed in Facebook, but yours popped up, and then I was like, we exist. There is more. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I instantly was yes. What I gotta do? I want to get up in this group right here. Yes. And then even the opportunity to talk to you, I was so grateful. And then learning about freaking the Dallas conference and knowing that existed, and because I didn't even know it existed. But learning about it, like my goal next year is to be there next year. I had I couldn't go this year because I work conflict, but no longer. Like I'm not going to allow that to prevent me from going. So I will be going next year because I want to surround myself with all of that beauty that we are, because every single one of us is beautiful. The fact that we're taking this journey and we're doing it, we are so much more stronger than we even give ourselves freaking we're a lot stronger than what we give ourselves credit for.
Yes.
And I want to be surrounded by more of that. I want us to be surrounded by more of that. And then I want it to be more than just what's in Dallas. You know, I want there to be more freaking conferences readily available in different parts of the US for individuals who can't afford to sit there and fly or drive or get the hotel. I want to sit here and perhaps even partner up with a hotel company or someplace, and so that we can get rooms on block for that's affordable and not have to sit here and people have to scrounge around for it. Like I want there to be more of that than just in Dallas. I mean, this country is big as hell. We should be able to have it in more places than just one place.
Yeah. I could say what I really like, what the Black Trans Advocacy Conference. I really enjoy it. It was something that I was able to attend last year, but I'll be honest with you, I haven't been able to attend it every year because of financial barriers. And at one point, like I said, like I didn't always thrive. At parts of my life, I was surviving. At parts of my life, homelessness was very much a part of my life. With parts of my life, struggle was very well. Even now, getting to a point like, hey, what I do with this organization, I don't get paid to do this. I do this because I love community, and it's so big and near and dear to my heart, and I love what I'm doing. But this year, I had to start telling people no. I had to start saying no. Hey, I can't do this event. I can't do this because I don't financially get paid for this, and I have to make sure that my wife is okay. I got to make sure that my son is good. I got to make sure that my mortgage is paid, my car notes are paid, and I got really big adult things that I got going on. So I have to take care of me first. So that doesn't always mean saying yes. But do I love my community? Absolutely. Do I show up for it? I do. And I stand 10 toes strong. I definitely agree with you when you're talking about the conferences. I want so much more conferences. Like, I think that we need to build a very strong regional networks, and that means collaborating with other local organizations. I mean, and identifying community leaders, you know what I'm saying? And securing funding that will support these events. You know, it's essential for us to engage with local trans and BIPOC communities. You know, it's very essential for us to connect with people that understand our unique needs and our unique challenges, you know what I'm saying? And if we establish these partnerships, you know, with other local LGBT centers, health organizations, and advocacy groups, then we can ensure that we have more successful, sustainable events throughout the country. And that's really, I really want to see it. I really, really do. In fact, we're planning something. We're planning a BIPOC Pride in Hampton Roads, Virginia. I really would love for us to secure more funding for it. But you know me, whether the budget is small, whether the budget is big, baby, it's going to happen because I'm going to make it happen. But the bigger the budget, the better it's going to be for our community. And I know we need it. What I want is for us to celebrate my black and brown brothers and sisters. I want us to celebrate not only our heritage, but to celebrate our uniqueness as we connect across the globe. Like the conference in Dallas, it is. I love that conference. I love what Carter Brown and SB have been doing for the community. Do I wish that they did in other locations? Absolutely. But they're doing it where they have their resources and their connections. Would I love to help partner with them on future stuff? Absolutely. Because it's really big about helping our community thrive. It is a need, it's a desire, and we got to make it happen. And I know you said something about our Sunday meetings, and we do Thrive Marathon every Sunday. It don't matter whether it's a holiday. It don't matter whether I got a family member that passed away. It don't matter. We do these meetings because we want to make sure that we make time to build community. You know what I'm saying? We want to make sure that our community has peer support. And we just want to make sure that we provide a consistent safe space, you know, for trans men of color to come together and to discuss their experiences and their resources and offer emotional support. You know, I mean, these meetings are really a forum just to discuss larger issues that are affecting our community. You know what I'm saying? From navigating healthcare to dysphoria, to talk about upcoming events we got, to talk about advocacy work, to strengthening the bonds and uplift each other. Like, we do this because we care. We don't do this because we don't care. And you're talking about the OGs for the 50 and up group, and we have that space because they asked for it. They needed a space to talk about what they were dealing with, whether they transitioned later in life or whether they've been transitioning 20, 30 years and were around way before all these changes, all the different things now that were so easy, like accessible versus back then. Because, you know, in the 80s and the 90s, it wasn't that easy. And even in the early 2000s, it wasn't that easy versus how it is now. In order
I was a part of that early thousands. I feel that because when I first wanted to start transitioning with Kaiser, I had called and they was like, well, you know, you need parental consent and this and that. And this was like back in 2004, 2005. And like, the best you can do is wait till you're 18. The moment I turned 18, I started doing it. But this was 2008, 2009, whereas, and you know, and I'm very happy to how things are now, how accessible it is now. I damn sure wish it was much more accessible 15, 16 years ago when I started. But I am internally grateful for where it is. And I only see it to grow. I want it to grow. I want to be a part of that OG group when I'm in my 50s and 60s. And I'm seeing how seamless it is for our community to sit there and thrive. And I want to do what's possible to make that happen. But I do know the momentum is lacking in the sense because we don't have the resources. We don't have the funding. And, you know, how do we do it? Like, where do we go? Where do we find it? Like, who do we need to talk to get that? Because it's not necessarily possible where you can sit there and say, we can reach out to our community leaders, our Congress, our Senate, because these are the same folks who want to take away the stuff that we have right now, that the healthcare, the certain rights that we have. So it's like, where can we go? Who do we talk to? And even if it's just talking to other Black people in the community, the Black community in general is struggling as well. So it's like, where do we start? Where do we get it from?
So to be someone, I remember I met the mayor for my particular city. I met him somewhere because, of course, I was doing community work, and that's where you're going to see me at. You're going to see me standing for the community. And he was like, yeah, let's have a meeting. Let's do this. And I sat down and had a meeting, and it wasn't with him. And I gave the lady some information that would help the community, right? Never heard anything back since then. I left it alone, right? But how many times have you sat with someone and said, hey, we need this for our community, but they don't feel like it's a need? Let's be honest. They're not going to prioritize transgender men. They're not going to prioritize transgender people in general. And they damn sure don't give a care whether you're black or brown and trans. They don't. Honest, they don't. They don't care. It'll never be a priority on their list. There's going to be so many different things. But I think that where we start is within our community. If our community can come together to just be like, hey, I'm not going to stab you in the back. I want this to work. Hey, I want to come together. You may not financially be able to donate to an organization that's doing the work in your community, but can you donate your time? What you doing on the weekend? Can you give a couple of hours? You know what I'm saying? Hey, I got this experience in this. Here, utilize it. They're not doing that. They're not doing that part. And we have to do that. We have to be there. You know what I'm saying? I can honestly say that for some stuff, I'm willing to do. Sometimes I'm like, hey, I love you, but I can't. Sometimes I have to say no. Because self-care is important for me. Because I'm rolling. My day starts. As you know, my day starts at 5 a.m. I'm going at 5. I'm not going to bed till about 10 p.m. That is a normal day. That is in my world. And sometimes I do want to break. Sometimes I gotta say, hey, I need this moment. And that's okay, right? But honestly, there's funding opportunities out there, right? But where is the people that are willing to give us the training so that we can access this funding, that we can thrive? Where's the people that's willing to invest in us? And that is a problem. You have programs, you have things out there, but you charge the community that is struggling to make it in order to have access to something that they need. You know we need it. You know we're lacking the education. You know we're lacking the resources. But you're going to charge us instead of help us build ourselves up. That's where the problem lies. You got to be willing to pour in a community that doesn't have the access to the resources as everyone else. When you're thinking about the T-doors, because there is T-doors, and you think about the people who die, it's black trans women and black trans men that are dying at higher levels, that are going through the things. We're not even talking about how many transgender individuals that take their own life, because they not calculating and doing that math. They're only talking about the ones that are brutally hurt and brutally injured. But how much of it is mental? How much is it is because the world isn't willing to see us as we see ourselves?
Yep, that's it. Facts. But what I think that, again, this goes back to the mental part, the mental health part. What we don't have a community around us. Like I'm saying, like, at least for me personally, family wise, we need to be able to look at ourselves, see ourselves in the mirror, and know that we can, because no one else is going to tell us. We have to first break that barrier, and know that we have it in our own mental dexterity to know that we are so capable of being able to do that. Regardless if they are giving us the resource or teaching us how to access it, we have to know that we are mentally capable to find it ourselves and teach ourselves. Because everything of what I even doing myself, I've taught myself, because no one was willing, no one was going to sit there and teach me. One, even just identifying as a black man, no one wanted to teach me anything. What I know about investing in general, I had to teach myself, because no one was going to take the opportunity to even educate me on that, on the financial literacy even that I even have to get to that point. I didn't go to college. I'm saying no one No one sat there and was willing to sit there and even help with my mental state so that I could go to college, to even utilize the grades that I got to even get into college. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, none of that was given to me. I went to one of the worst schools in DC. No one was really out there. I had a couple of counselors, but you know what I'm saying? I'm too busy trying to make sure I don't get shot or beat to death and all that stuff to really even utilize the goddamn resources that the school had. Anacostia and Blue is one of the worst schools in in DC. I got kicked out of a school, a good school that I was going to, because they wanted to jump me because I was gay. But I'm the one that got kicked out because I whooped their ass. I didn't let them sit there and try to whoop my ass, but I'm the one that got kicked out of the school. So it's like, you know, but all of that I took, and I started looking at myself, and I realized I'm a lot fucking stronger than what I believe, and I can sit here and do this shit myself. Like, I'll fucking do this myself. And I went out there to find it, to do it myself. But the lack is the fact that even right now, if I wanted to sit here and knowing that I do want to grow this, what I'm doing, I'm coming out of my own pocket to budget to even promote this, to get the exposure of this. I do know that there's grants there, but I don't have the slightest goddamn clue on where to access it. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to stop having the conversations and putting it out there. Even if that means I'm marketing and I'm paying out of my pocket to put this on everybody's internet and give this exposure out there. I'm willing to do that, because for me, the bigger need is the fact that I know that there are other trans people who possibly don't even know that TTMOC exists, that needs to know that it's out there. I'm pretty sure there's so many people that don't even young trans youth, because so many of them are thinking that they don't need to exist. I know of one personally who I go see visit in the hospital, who I try my best to even show him that you can survive. Like, as a black trans man, you can survive. And I try to be as caring and to show him as much love as possible, so that he can sit there and know that he doesn't need to sit there and feel like he can't make it in this world. And I know in order for me to do that, I need to continue to sit there and show him that as a thriving black trans man, I'm out here. We exist, and it is possible to sit here and make it. Do not feel defeated, because at the moment we walk out the door, there's so much against us, and we have to have the mental dexterity to keep pushing and to make sure we don't succumb. And I feel like one of the things that I know myself is I do find myself constantly comparing myself to cisgendered men, the success of cisgendered men. And then I have to remind myself, it's a lot easier for them, because they don't have to, deal with the fact of transitioning. So I have to remind myself to stop trying to compare myself to cis people in general, because they're not even at all remotely dealing with any of the stuff that we deal with. Regardless, whether they're black or white, they're not even remotely dealing with what we're dealing with. And I know that is a problem. I feel like I know I can't be the only one who compares myself to cis people and the success that they go through or what they have.
What I always say is that thriving, it means different things to different people. Like, it's not going to be the same. It doesn't look the same for everyone, you know? And I feel like that it's so important for us to harness what makes us different and unique and own it. If we take ownership of it, like, for some, it might be about achieving financial security. For others, it's going to be about emotional well-being or having a strong support system, right? Thriving could also mean about like living authentically, right? And the success that could come from thriving could be shaped by, you know, people's experiences, right? You said that comparing yourself to a cisgender man, that was something that you shouldn't have done, but you found yourself doing it. What if you could compare your thriving to a diverse definition that where thriving would like look like you, right? Because thriving looks like each one of us in our own capacity, in our own way. I'm not gonna look like the other black trans man that's doing this. I will never be Marquise, how amazing he is and how he's in featured on TV and how he's been in movies. I'm not gonna be Marquise. I'm gonna be male fine. I'm not Marquise fine, and that's okay with me. I'm married. I got a kid. I'm good. I ain't gotta be him. I can still be me and thrive, right? I can still be my brother's keeper and thrive, right? Because we're a unit and unity is important. I can still be a father and thrive. I can still be the provider for my family and thrive because it looks like that on me. That's what thriving looks like to me. And have I had to survive in order to thrive? Have I had to do at-risk work in order to thrive? Absolutely. But those were barriers that I experienced. Do I shame anyone for their story to be rough? Do I shame anyone who doesn't have an education? No. Was I afforded the opportunity to go to school? Yes. Did I take full advantage of it? Absolutely not. I was probably a C average student just making it because I'm dealing with my mental health. I'm dealing with bullies. I'm dealing with everything else on top of being black at a school that was majority white and trying to figure out what my gender identity was because I thought I was a butch. I thought I was a dumb and I turned out to be a trans man, but there wasn't language that I knew about back in 2008 or back in 2004 because 2004 was when I was wearing men's clothes. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't have the language. I didn't have the knowledge behind it. You know what I'm saying? Did I feel very dysphoric in women's clothes? Absolutely. Was I getting beat by my parents for being different than my sisters? Absolutely. Did I know what it was like to not have that acceptance at home and not have the acceptance at school? Absolutely. But did it break me? No. I may have been weak then. I still found my voice and I still found my inner strength. You know what I'm saying? Like gender dysphoria can contribute to like wanting to be feeling like comparing yourself to other people. We can honestly try to find like societal expectations, like rooted in masculinity. Like we're trying to do all these cis normative ideas, right? Because we think that it's trans men of color and we're feeling that pressure, right? That we got to measure up. We got to compare our success that is set by a cisgendered man in terms of like physical appearance or financial success or thinking about social status, right? But when we start making comparisons to what it looks like for us as individuals, as how we identify, right? And we challenge these norms and we redefine what success is, right? We come to a place of affirmation and affirm who we are in our own experiences. Then that's when we make the difference. That is when we do stuff. That is when we really grow. And we help our community, right? We help our younger generation see that, hey, you got a voice. You can use your voice. Hey, you can be who you are. It's okay to be you. It's okay to do you. Hey, let me help my brother to make sure he knows he's loved, he's valued. Hey, let me make my sister know, hey, I celebrate you. I love all of your greatness. I love everything about you. Hey, you cisgender person, you're an ally. Thank you for loving on me. Thank you for loving me, right? Hey, white trans person, you different. So what? It don't matter. You still my brother. You still my sister. You know how many white trans folks I still rock with? They're like, hey, Mel, I know you're black. I know I'm black. Hey, so what? Love on each other anyway, right? It's about us coming together to find out where unity lies. We are stronger. For the LGBTQIA to know that we are solid together. And this is not a competition. It's not a war. It is not a war. and that loving each other will not hurt us, but make us grow stronger.
Facts. The community at large, the LGBT community at large, needs to come together as one and utilize. We're sitting here and we're talking about love and hate and so forth. We need to love ourselves to help ourselves grow so that everyone in this community feels loved and lifted and so forth. It does not need to feel like there's a battle between lesbians and gays and trans and gays and trans. We're all in the same goddamn minority community. So how about we all just come together and lift each other up? Let's focus on lifting each other up. Black, white, purple, orange. Let's get it together and lift each other up. Because we can be so we can come out here as a force. We are so powerful as a group, as a unit, than what we are separated. If we can, we can come out here and kill it tremendously as a group, than not. Something I wanted to, because you mentioned how you utilize your resources for education and so forth, and just like you, I was focused on school and not going to jail again, and not sitting here having to look over my shoulder about getting into fights on a consistent goddamn basis. So I did not utilize the resources that were given to me back in school that I should have. So now, as adults, we seek out what's needed, because one, financial literacy is an issue. Real estate education is an issue, and just education, seeking education as an adult, because you don't need a degree. There are contracting work, the apprenticeships that is accessible. How do we get those who are successful in those areas as trans people to give these resources, give this education out to other trans people who need it, who want to know about it? Because I know that there are Black people who are financially literate, who can educate individuals who need to know about it, who need to know, or even healthcare wise, who have gotten to the success in their lives of what they have, who should want to share that with other individuals who don't have the resources. How do we then reach out to those individuals and get them to then share that information? Because one of the episodes that I'm going to do for the podcast myself is going to be about real estate. I'm going to share what I know about real estate and how I've gotten to where I've gotten to in my real estate career, so that individuals know about it, so that there are more trans people who are homeowners and who have creating that type of generational wealth for themselves, who know how to obtain a home, how to get a mortgage, what's needed to get to that point, because they might not even know that they're possibly able to get a mortgage right now, and they think that home ownership is something scary, where it's not. You can do it. You can sit here and be spending a lot less on a mortgage than you do on rent, depending on where you're at right now.
Facts. I think that we have to network. We've got to come together. We have to care, and it starts there. We have got to, as a community, Black and brown individuals, trans individuals, Black trans individuals, have got to realize that we are stronger as a force, and we've got to want to share the information we have, but we also have to be susceptible to it. I can't tell you, hey, yo, bro, I can teach you about financial literacy. I already know how to fix my credit. My credit messed up. Ain't no fixing it. That is not going to help you. If you know it all, by all means, we've got to want to know. We've got to be willing to gain the information and knowledge. And folks got to be willing to want to teach us. You know what Black folks will do quick in a heartbeat? We charge you. Oh yeah, I teach you about this, but it's going to cost you. And we're going to charge our community more than what we're going to charge the other folks out there. I've never understood it. I never have. I've never been that one that has done it. Because what I know, what I got, I'll teach you for free. I've done that.
I'm the exact same way. But my sister-in-law actually she was her job, and she was driving these people around or something, and she was telling them how, you know, we own real estate, how we do real estate, and these guys wanted to know the information, and she was like, I gave them your contact number. You know, they're going to ask you a couple questions, and they, you know, the thing was they were asking, do I charge a fee, this and that? And I was like, I don't. You're black. You want to know about this, so I'm going to share with you what I know and tell you what books that you can read and how I gained my education. If you got any questions, I'm not going to charge you. But the thing that what got to me was the fact that they instantly just thought that I was going to charge them to share this information with them. And anyone who that's even in my life, I tell them, I have no problem. What do you want to know? I'll share it with you. I'm not sitting here saying I know it all. Don't confuse that. I will share with you the resources of what I got, what books that taught me what I know, and I will answer any questions you have. I want to see more black people successful. And we shouldn't be out here charging each other to get to that point. If we should be wanting to help our community, black people in general should be wanting to help other black people build. Because you got them white folks out here who are easily helping out other white people, helping them create more wealth. They want to keep that wealth for themselves. They don't want to see other black people out here surviving. But yet we're sitting here in competition with ourselves, with each other, instead of as a community lifting each other up, creating more black wealth for each other, and stop putting it in white people's pockets.
I'm gonna be honest. There are so many black trans men that if we came together, trans men of color, if we came together and actually focused on building together instead of fighting, then we could remove some of the systematic erasing that is continuously going on, because they're not putting the visibility in trans masculine experiences, not in media, not in politics, not even in the LGBTQ spaces, right? For history, it's been centered on trans feminine experiences and have often left the trans men, especially trans men of color, out of gaining that same support, right? There's this intersection of race and gender that adds these additional barriers for us, right? But what if we came together? What if you took your knowledge in real estate? I took my knowledge in financial literacy, or I took my knowledge in building myself up from my lowest point in my life, my darkest of darks, to be my brightest point. And we came together and we shared how we did it. How much could we grow? How much could we soar? I tell folks all the time, I tell my members, like, hey, you got an event, you run an organization, share your stuff in here. I want us to know about different resources. I want us to know about different things going on. Hey, you know about something that's going to build us up? Share it here. For sure, we need to know. Let's come together. You know about some funding, send it to me. I may not be able to access it, but send it. Maybe I know somebody who does. The whole thing about us is that if we come together, black and brown people, black and brown trans men, black and brown trans people, black and brown queer people, black and brown people in general, if we come together for something, let's come together for something. We come together for a cookout. If we come together for a cookout, we come together because Uncle Bobby done died and he having his funeral. We can come together to learn something that's going to help our community. We can come together, build together, that can build something for the future, for tomorrow. They hate me because I'm passionate, but I'm honest and I'm willing to do it. Are they willing to do it is a question. They need to ask themselves, are you willing to do it? Is Bobby Joe willing to do it? Is Tom, Sarah, and Lee willing to do it? If we all come together, we can get on the same accord. It ain't about the money. It's about the success for our community. Not only do I support black and brown trans individuals, I support the black and brown communities because we have to exist. We have to make it. And they got to stop looking at black and brown trans individuals as villains. We not villains. We not monsters. We everyday people that are living and are thriving and that are we're willing to make sure that they do too. We're willing to make. Everyone
And we also got to stop looking at our just like ourselves, our black and brown counterpart. We are not each other's villains, and so if we can't stop looking at each other as the villains within ourselves, we definitely can't expect everyone else to not do it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm so willing to show up, be there, and share whatever I possibly can when I can. And it's more so I don't want much out of life, and I guess that's probably why I'm willing to give so much. All I want to do is just make sure everybody else in my life, everyone else is surviving. You know what I'm saying? But not even that. I want to help everyone else thrive. Like you said, I want to help everyone else no longer just survive, to thrive the best way I possibly can. However that is possible for whomever, let me know so I can help you get there the best of my ability without wearing myself down. Let me know what I can do to be there for you, to help you get to the point of what you need in life. Because I do know that if you don't set the boundaries, some boundaries do need to be set. You can run yourself ragged.
that part.
I feel like that's the only time boundaries need to be there. Self-care and love. You gotta put them boundaries there. Every other boundary, break them. Go for them. Break those bounds. But make sure you keep your own mental good to go. But I'm for it. You know. However I need to be there, let me know. However I can, I want to. And I do know that I feel like I'm pulling myself in every which direction. But I know I can still do it. Like I don't think I reached that point where I need to take some time. So I know I'm cause as you know, I'm doing the food truck thing too, and I use your platform. I think it was like a couple months ago, I had put a post like, as everyone knows, I do the podcast, but also do real estate. And I want to offer the job opportunity to anyone who is on the agent side, construction, whatever the case may be. I want to give y'all my business first before I go find others to give my business to. No one really responded, so I'm gonna do it again though, because I'm trying. I'm growing my portfolio, and I want to be able to provide housing to individuals and provide jobs to people like us first before sitting here giving it to anyone else first. Point blank. I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, I actually know guys, so I think we definitely need to connect. I might have missed it. I got so much stuff going on, but there's folks that need employment, and I do try to connect them all to work. That's one of the things that we do. Like, we help with resumes, we help people find employment, we're sharing stuff, and there's been so many people reached out like, hey, I do this, I do that, and they are needing work. So I'm gonna definitely take you up on that offer for sure, about it. But also, I mean, I know some guys did do the podcast with you though.
No, they did. Yep, a couple of guys we did. The final season, the last episode of last season was with those guys. And it was awesome. It was a great episode. I still reach out occasionally just to check in on them, see how they're doing. I do know Anthony Dillon just had a birthday. He had sent me a invite for his birthday, but I told him I wasn't in town, so I wasn't able to make it. But I mean, again, your platform is where I found these individuals and met these awesome people, and I want your platform. I want your platform to grow so much because I feel like there's so many resources that's in your platform alone. Like you said, if we all just came together, it's 2,000 members. If all 2,000 of us figured out how we can continue to expand this and grow, one little arm reaching out here to someone else and pulling it in, literally growing a whole freaking atmosphere of just trans beauty of men that's just growing. It's so possible, and I thank you so much for your platform, 100%. Because it's
like, we're gonna continue to grow. We're gonna continue to focus on really important things. Like, we're gonna really talk about like some real things, like you mentioned, finance, real estate, education, all of that. We gonna tap into the stuff that folks don't want to talk about, right? I'm really big personally on economic empowerment. I'm big for it for myself, and our organization is really big about that. Really big about healthcare access, housing stability, mental health support, education and skill training, all of that, because those are drawbacks that our community is facing, right? Those are the heavy hitters that are hitting our community, and we got to focus on that. We want to break barriers. If we don't do nothing else, we breaking barriers. You know what I'm saying? And even with limited resources, like, we want to see our community grow. You know what I'm saying? And we do want to make sure that trans men of color, that we get into mainstream, right? That we become the actual infrastructure to actual resources and knowledge. You know what I'm saying? To allow us to stretch further than we could ever imagine. You know what I'm saying? Advocacy is the key, and we're pushing for policy changes, right? We're pushing to address, healthcare access and anti-discrimination laws and the housing things. We're pushing to make sure that we're encouraging mentorship within our community, but knowing that there's a generation of trans men of color that has access to guidance, it has access to support. You know what I'm saying? And as we grow and continue to move in numbers, and to know that we are capable and that we are able, and that there is strength out there in all of us, right? That there is something for all of us in this world, that if we just make it through, if it's just surviving today and thriving tomorrow, that we can go further than we ever imagined. That is the focus, that is the key, and that is what can happen. But we got to come together as a unit.
That was a perfect way to end the show. That was like a wonderful send-off speech. I love your enthusiasm. I love your momentum. And I love that there are more men like me who are passionate about certain things in this world that need to get done. That's what I'm saying. When I found when I found TTMOC, and then I found you, I was like, yes. I was so proud. I remember even telling my friend too. I was like, you wouldn't believe the Facebook group that I just found just now. And when we at first spoke on it, and I was telling her about it, and she's gonna come with me next year to Dallas, because she was gonna come with me this year. She's like my rock in it all. You gotta have that one little person, one little rock support, and that's what she is. But and she gets excited when I get excited about talking about this. And I can't wait to finally meet you in person and grow with you. Thank you. I appreciate this, and we're gonna grow together, and there's gonna be so much more, and I'm excited. Thank you.
Absolutely. We're always looking for people that are really serious about leadership to join the collective, to be a part of it. So if you're interested in leadership and you're willing, you got the time and you can access it, we're always down for it. We're looking for it. We're looking for strong individuals, though. We're not looking for people who break easy. So just throwing that out there. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, you got to be able to get somebody, take some hits, because advocacy. This work is tough, but it's so rewarding, right? And we do so much good, even out here, like from like local standpoints, but also to chapter standpoints. Like we have our Chicago chapter, they're thriving, they're doing really great things, but just having it in other areas, we're really building that, what that looks like, all over the world, because it's important, right? And just connecting, it's a lot of self-reflection. I think that we need so much more self-reflection, because how I really have developed as an individual, like my personal development, was through self-reflection. And I needed that. I needed ways to do that were safe and that were caring and nurturing. So yeah.
Well, how do people, I mean, I know how I found you on Facebook, but how else, where you at? Like, I know also you can find you online. 'Cause I typed it online, But I mean,
Yeah.
when I share this with the world, how do people find your organization?
So we have a website. It's thrivingtransmitofcolor.org. We have a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/thrivingtransmitofcolor. We have an Instagram, which is @thrivingtransmitofcolor. We got a Facebook, which is facebook.com/thrivingtransmitofcolor. We got our Facebook group, which is the TTMOC BIPOC support space. We have our Facebook group that's for allies, which is TTMOC Allies and Support Space. We have an email address, which is contact@thrivingtransmitofcolor.org. And we are connecting to do in-person meetings. Those in-person meetings right now, our next thing that we're going to be at is going to be at Ties, which Ties is going to be, I believe it's November 16th, and I should know this because I'm on the planning committee for this. Yes, it's November 16th, and we're going to be at Ties, which is the Transgender Informational Empowerment Summit. So we'll be there. That's in Richmond, Virginia. And you can register online for that. We just shared it on our social media. But Ties is held by Equality Virginia. We're one of the community sponsors of that. We are planning our BIPOC Pride, which will be in Hampton Roads, Virginia, 2025. Always looking for volunteers and stuff. You can go on our website and volunteer. But also, too, if they want to call us, you can call us at 804-505-5013. Again, 804-505-5013. And somebody will answer the phone calls. We typically keep somebody connected to that phone as well, too. But yeah, we have in-person meetups. We do them. We're having them all over the globe. For our chapters are holding those meetings, so just really big. Be on the lookout for it. More details or whatever. Yeah.
Do you have a date yet for the Pride one?
Okay, so we're actually still in the planning for it, so I do not have the date for it. Which we will have one. I'm meeting with my board next month to discuss what date it's gonna be. So when we get that out there, we're gonna put it out to the world. So we haven't released it, but it's coming. We already have volunteers and stuff, so just want to make sure we secure the venue for it, and then the date will be coming out. So
okay.
It'll be
if you can give me a date, I definitely want to try. I mean, because that's you're not too far from my side of town. You know, I'm from DC, so you're not too far, and I can get my link up, see my family, and have my family come with me. So if you can give me a date, I can see how I can make that happen for sure. All right, brother. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Much love, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Peace.
Did I end it? I don't even know if I ended. Are you still there? No, I didn't end it.
Okay, cool.